Now let's move on to the next topic. This is now factoring. So we are going to use the distributive property to expand algebraic expressions. We sometimes need to reverse this process, again using the distributive property. So we have to reverse this process by factoring and expressions as a product of a simpler ones. So for example, we can write x squared minus 4 is equal to x minus 2 plus b squared. All right. Actually, in this topic is the reverse way of the spatial products. As you can see this one, we have a squared minus b squared. If this will be the given, then we are going to factor that one. We have the factor for that. It becomes a plus b times a minus b. As you can see, our example here, we have x squared minus 4. The first term is a perfect square, and the last term is a perfect square. So I call this one as the difference of two squares whose factor for that is the product of sum and difference of two terms. So these two topics are very much related to each other. The special product we can factor whose answer is now the given. So a while ago, our given is this one, the right hand side, and the answer is on the left side. Now, if I'm going to do the reverse, this one now is the given, and this will be our answer. We say that x minus 2 and x plus 2 are factors of x squared minus 4. So the easiest type of factoring, of course, when the terms have a common factor. All right, so I guess we can now have an example. So we are going to factor each expression. For letter A, we have 3x squared minus 6x. Before we go in any kind of factoring, you may observe or inspect first if there is a common monomial factor. Just like for letter A, so we have 3x squared and 6x. So we just apply here the common monomial factor. The common factor between the numerical coefficient 3 and 6 is 3. And for the variables, we have x squared and x. You pick up the lowest exponent. Now, combining the common factor of the numerical coefficient and the variables. So between 3x squared minus 6x, so the common factor, we have 3x squared minus 6x. So we have here the common factor is 3x. Then after that, you divide the given 3x squared divided by 3x. It will just give you x. Because when in dividing, 3x squared divided by 3x. So divide the numerical coefficients. We have 3 divided by 3 is 1. And then for x squared divided by x, we need to subtract the exponents if the bases are the same. So 2 minus 1, so just a power of 1. If the power is 1 or the exponent is 1, then no need to write. So just write there x. And then minus 6x divided by 3x, so the quotient is 2. Therefore, the factor of 3x squared minus 6x is 3x times x minus 2. Or the factors of 3x squared minus 6x are 3x and x minus 2. Now, if you're going to multiply this again, it will go back to the original given. As you can see here, 3x times x gives you 3x squared, and 3x minus 2 gives you 6x. That is how to check your work. Now, for letter B, so we have 8x to the power of 4 y squared plus 6x cubed y cubed minus 2x y raised to the 4th power. Now, let us inspect first the numerical coefficients. So we have 8, 6, and 2. So the common factor between 8, 6, and 2 is just 2. So I will write here 2. And then, what about in terms of x? We have to inspect x to the 4th power, x cubed, and x. So all x are present in all terms. And the lowest exponent is the power of 1. So I will include that one as our common monomial factor. Now, for the next variable, we have y. We have y squared, y cubed, and y to the 4th power. And we know that power of 2 is the lowest exponent. That is why I'm now going to include y squared as the common monomial factor. Now, you follow the same procedure. After finding the common monomial factor, we are going to divide each term to each common monomial factor. Now, divide 8x to the power of 4 y squared divided by 2x y squared. So we have 8 by divided by 2 is 4. And then we have x cubed because we subtract the exponent, 4 and 1 is 3. And y squared, you have subtract 2 minus 2 is 0. So therefore, you only have 4x cubed because y squared divided by 1, y squared is just 1. So 1 times 4x cubed will give you 4x cubed. Okay? Plus, we have 6x cubed y cubed divided by 2xy squared. So we have now 3x squared y. 6 divided by 2 is 3. X cubed divided by x is x squared. Y cubed divided by y squared, we have y to the first power. Minus, because of that sign is minus, 2 divided by 2 is 1. X divided by x is 1 or cancelled. And y to the fourth power divided by y squared. So the remaining term here is just y squared. So if you want to be confident of your answer, you may check your work by multiplying these factors. For letter C, we have 2x plus 4 times x minus 3 minus 5 times x minus 3. So you can see this is the first terms. That is a product form. So all of this can be considered as one term and another term. So we could see that x minus 3 and x minus 3 is the common monomial factor. Now to solve for that, so write first the common monomial factor, which is a binomial term. So we have now x minus 3, and then we are going now to divide this term divided by x minus 3. So we can cancel x minus 3 and x minus 3. So the quotient now is 2x plus 4. So we have 2x plus 4. And then minus sign, so minus 5 times x minus 3 divided by x minus 3. So x minus 3 is cancelled. So the remaining answer is negative 5. Now we are going to simplify inside this one because there is a common term, which is the constant term. So we have now x minus 3 times, we copy that one, the common monomial factor, and simplifying this one again, we have 2x, 4 minus 5 is negative 1. And this is now the final answer for letter C. All right, so I have here factoring trinomials. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is factoring trinomials. Okay, so to factor a trinomial of the form x squared plus bx plus c, we know that the x plus r times x plus s is equal to x squared plus the quantity of r plus s of x plus rs. So the first term is the square of the first term. We have x squared. And then this one in the middle is the sum of the factors. So r and s there are the factors. And they are the sum of the factors of x. And the last term is the product of the factors. So we need to choose numbers r and s so that r plus s will be equal to b. All right, and rs, or the product of rs, will be equal to our constant term. All right, so we have to factor this one, x squared plus 7x plus 12. Now to do for that, we are going to find the factors of 12 whose sum is this one, is the sum, okay, which it refers to b, and whose sum of the factors will give you the middle term. And the product of the factors will give you the last term. Now, what are the factors of 12? what do you think are the factors of 12 that will give you a sum of 7? Now let's try. The factors of 12 is, if I'm going to use 2 and 6 is 12. But the product of 2 and 6 is 12. But if you're going to find the sum for that, it gives you 8. So meaning to say that the factors of 12 that you choose is wrong. Now, let's try think of another factors. Now, let's try 1 and 12. 1 times 12 is 12. So that's now the product, which is the last term actually. And if you're going to add for that, it gives you 13. So, which is also another wrong way of the factors. Now, let's try 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12, and 3 plus 4 is 7. So I get we've got now the correct choice. You have to use 3 times 4. If you are going to multiply this, we have 3 times 4 equals 12. But if you're going to add this, so 3 plus 4 will give you 7. All right? So 7 is the number that you can see in the middle term. Therefore, since we only have the coefficient of x squared is 1, then we'll just write away the factors of x plus 3 times x plus 4. So the r and s there, we have the 3 and 4. So if you're going to add, it gives you 7 of x. And then if you're going to multiply that 1, it gives you 12. Okay? Now, what if the coefficient of x squared is greater than 1? So let's try this another example. So the method that I'm using here is that I'm using the AC method. So your A here is 6 and C is equal to negative 5. Now, if you're going to multiply AC, it gives you now negative 30. Now, from the value of AC to negative 30, we are going to find the factors whose product is negative 30 and whose sum is positive 7. A while ago, I am just factoring right away on the last term, it's the positive 12. But this time, I cannot factor this right away because the coefficient of x squared is greater than 1. Okay? So if the coefficient of x squared is greater than 1, then multiply first the value of A and C. So whose product now is negative 30. Now, we're going to find the factors of negative 30 that will give you the sum of 7. Now, let's try negative 30 divided by 2. So we have 15, negative 2 and 15. So 2 and 15 will not give you a sum of 7. Take note, that is negative, whose product is negative sign. So meaning to say, one of the factors is positive and one is negative. So if you have negative 30 and divided by 2, so it will not give you positive 7. What about, or shall we say divide first by 3? So the quotient is 10. So we have the factors is 3 and 10 is 30. So I will write first 3 and 10. But if you're going to multiply 3 times 10, it is positive 30. Alright? But we need negative 30. But if I'm going to add this one, 3 plus 10 is 13. But I need positive 7. Because the sign is positive, therefore I will assign positive for 10 and negative for 3. So that negative 3 times 10 is negative 30 and negative 3 plus 10 will give you positive 7. So when you multiply this one, the product is negative 30. But when you add the factors of negative 3 plus 10 will give you positive 7, which is correct in our middle term because we are looking for the sum of the factors, which is now positive. So after that, we're not yet done yet because our coefficient of x squared or the value of a is greater than 1. So we need to divide by its value of a, which is now the value of a there, or the coefficient of x squared divided by 6, and we also have to divide this by 6. And now, reduce it to the lowest term. Negative 3 over 6 is negative 1 half, and 10 over 6, whose lowest term for that is 5 over 3. Now, we're going to focus on this value and this one. So in writing the answer, you may start now the denominator. So the denominator now will become the coefficient of your x. So the coefficient of x now will give you, we have 2x, and the numerator is negative 1, so minus 1. And the other one, we have the new denominator is 3, so therefore it becomes now 3x. Why x? Because the variable here is x. That's why we have 3x plus 5. Now after that, you can check that one. You can check the factors by using the FOIL method. Let's try. First terms, 2x times 3x is 6x squared. Then last terms, we have 2x and 5. We have 2x. If you're going to multiply this one, it becomes now 10x. Okay, take note, that's now 10x. And negative 1 times 3x is negative 3x. So negative 3x and positive 10x. So the sum is 7x. And negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. So factoring trinomials is not really difficult. By the way, there are so many methods on how to factor trinomials, but I guess this is the shortest and the easiest way to solve for that. Therefore, I will focus only that kind of solution. But if in case you know some other methods and you feel comfortable with that, and then you can use that method. Okay, next example, we have to factor each expressions of letter A is x squared minus 2x minus 3. So this is almost similar to the first example that we had on the last slide. So I will write here, what are the factors of negative 3 that will give you a sum of negative 2? All right, so I have negative 3 and positive 1. Negative 3 times 1, it gives you negative 3. And this one, if you're going to add that one, negative 3 plus 1, it gives you negative 2. Meaning to say, the factors are correct. The factors now are negative 3 and 1. So this 1 and 1. So since the coefficient of your x squared or the value of a is 1, then we can just write away our answer in terms of this. So x minus 3 times x plus 1. So simple as that. All right. Now for this, the first term is a square of binomial. We have 5a plus 1 minus 2 times 5a plus 1 minus 3. Now, for you not to be confused, I will let a single variable for our binomial. Shall I say, I'm going to let 5a plus 1 is equal to x. And therefore, by rewriting that one now, I would say that this is now x squared because 5a plus 1 is x. That's why I write here x squared minus 2x, which is now 5a plus 1 minus 3. So as you can see, this one is similar now to the first example. Now, we know that the factor of this is x minus 3 times x plus 1. But you're not going to stop here because we define x as 5a plus 1. Now, replacing now the value of x, which is now 5a plus 1. So I can write 5a plus 1 minus 3. And we have 5a plus 1 plus 1. 5a plus 1 is your x, but another plus 1. All right? And simplify it further. We have now 5a minus 2 times 5a plus 2. Now, if you're going to multiply that one, I'm pretty sure that the product for that will give you this.